On January 6th, 1982 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I broke into a chamber beneath the Calvary escarpment north of the city wall of Jerusalem. In that chamber is the Ark of the Covenant.
There are mysteries that sit quietly in the dust of history, and then there are the ones that roar beneath it. In his final days, Ron Wyatt, an ordinary man who wandered into extraordinary places, spoke of a discovery so overwhelming that even he struggled to grasp it. He described descending into a hidden world beneath ancient Jerusalem, a place untouched by sunlight for thousands of years, where the weight of prophecy felt alive in the air. He said that what he witnessed there did not simply challenge archaeology, it shattered it. It frightened him, it humbled him, and it awakened a truth he believed humanity was never prepared to confront. These were not the words of a man seeking attention, but the trembling, soul-heavy confession of someone who had seen something he could never forget. Before we continue, kindly subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any of our future revelations. Because what you are about to hear is not rumor, not legend, and not the retelling of an old story. This is the final testimony of a dying explorer, a man who claimed he found the one object the world has searched for, fought for, speculated about, and feared for generations. Now, let us begin.
And one day, he came home, and that changed. He didn't talk about that anymore, and it took him a couple of months before he would tell me that he knew that he was never going to bring the ark out, that he would only bring the tables of stone out, or that they would be brought out one day.
Ronald Eldon Wyatt was not a traditional archaeologist. Born on June 2, 1933, he spent most of his working life as a nurse anesthetist in Tennessee, quietly raising his family and living a life that appeared entirely ordinary. Yet something stirred within him, an unusual passion for tracking the physical remnants of the biblical world. From the early 1970s onward, he embarked on self-funded expeditions across Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel. He traveled not with academic teams or government-backed organizations, but with a Bible, a compass, basic excavation tools, and what he described as divine guidance. It was this journey, half faith, half exploration, that placed him at the center of some of the most debated discoveries of the 20th century. He declared that he found the remains of Noah's Ark resting on a mountain slope near the village of Dou Bayazut. He claimed to have located the path of the Red Sea crossing, marked by coral-encrusted chariot wheels. He pointed to a mountain in northwestern Saudi Arabia, Jebel al-Lawz, and identified it as the real Mount Sinai, scorched black at its summit, as though burned by the presence of God himself. These discoveries earned him followers who saw the hand of God guiding him, and critics who dismissed him as a pseudo-archaeologist. But all of these controversies were only a prelude. Because in 1982, Ron Wyatt announced a discovery that would eclipse everything else he ever claimed. He said he found the Ark of the Covenant in a cliffside beneath the Garden Tomb in Jerusalem. And he said he saw it with his own eyes. According to Ron Wyatt, the discovery occurred on January 6, 1982. After several years of digging through a honeycomb of natural caves and artificial tunnels in the limestone north of Jerusalem's Damascus Gate, he believed that beneath the escarpment, an area many Christians consider to be Golgotha, there existed a secret chamber intentionally sealed in antiquity. And within that chamber rested one of the most sacred objects in biblical history. Wyatt described squeezing through a narrow opening that opened into a dark cavern, roughly 6 meters below the surface. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, he claimed he saw a large rectangular stone enclosure. Inside it, he said, was the Ark of the Covenant, The chest built under Moses' instruction in the wilderness, covered in pure gold, crowned by 2 cherubim, and believed to house the original stone tablets of the 10 Commandments. Wyatt insisted that every dimension he observed matched the biblical description. But the most startling part of his testimony was not the ark itself. It was what lay above it. He said he saw a crack in the ceiling, one that extended all the way to the surface, where he believed the crucifixion of Jesus took place. Wyatt claimed that during the moment Christ died, when the Gospel of Matthew says the earth shook and the rocks were split, this very fissure opened. And when the Roman soldier pierced Christ's side with a spear, the blood and water that flowed from his body seeped through the fracture and dripped directly onto the mercy seat of the ark. In his view, this was not symbolism, it was not metaphor, it was literal. He said he found dried, dark residue on the stone lid over the ark and collected a sample. And he claimed that laboratory testing revealed human blood, yet unlike any blood ever recorded. According to Wyatt, it had only 24 chromosomes instead of 46, 23 from a human mother, and a single Y chromosome unconnected to any biological father. He said the cells were still alive when rehydrated.
And they looked at me and they said, "Mr. Wyatt, this human blood only has 24 chromosomes in it. Everybody else has 46. You see, 23 from your mother, 23 from your father."
To him, this confirmed the virgin birth and the divine identity of Jesus Christ. But Ron Wyatt's story did not end there. In later interviews, Wyatt described another event that took place during his last visit to the chamber. He said 4 angels appeared to him, living beings charged with protecting the ark throughout the centuries. According to his account, these angels instructed him that the ark was not to be removed, photographed, or shown to the public until an appointed time near the end of human history. Wyatt said the angels lifted the lid themselves, revealing the stone tablets of the 10 Commandments inside. But they told him he could not film or photograph anything in the chamber. Not yet. Not until the close of what he called the final era of moral testing in the world. This, he insisted, was why no physical evidence could yet be shown. To some, this explanation strengthened his story. To others, it destroyed any possibility of verification. But whether believed or doubted, the narrative was unforgettable. Wyatt's supporters argue that his entire life's work forms a consistent pattern. Noah's Ark, the Red Sea crossing, Sodom and Gomorrah, Mount Sinai, and finally, the Ark of the Covenant. Each discovery, in their eyes, forms a chain that links archaeology with prophecy. They believe Wyatt's lack of academic endorsement was not evidence of deception, but a barrier placed by a secular system unable or unwilling to investigate supernatural claims. Many point out that the tunnels beneath the Garden Tomb were later sealed by the Israel Antiquities Authority, a fact his followers interpret as confirmation that something of enormous religious significance lies hidden there. Others emphasize that the Ark has never been rediscovered by any archaeological institution, leaving the possibility, however slim, that an object of profound mystery still rests beneath Jerusalem. To believers, Wyatt's story is not merely a historical claim, it is a prophetic revelation waiting for God's chosen time. Mainstream archaeologists, however, categorically reject every part of Wyatt's testimony. They note that no excavation permits were ever issued to him for the areas he claimed to dig. No photographs, video footage, or artifacts were produced. No laboratory ever published a report on the supposed blood sample. No independent witness ever confirmed entering the chamber. Experts in ancient Judaism argue that the ark would not have been hidden beneath a hill outside the city walls, especially since Jerusalem has undergone multiple destructions, reconstructions, and expansions over the centuries. Geologists point out that tunneling beneath Jerusalem without support beams would have been extremely dangerous, even impossible, without leaving evidence of collapsed stone. Geneticists call the claim of living blood with 24 chromosomes scientifically impossible. No organism with half a normal chromosome count can survive, let alone fully develop into a human being. For these reasons, the academic world places Wyatt's claims in the realm of legend, not archaeology. And yet, even in dismissal, the mystery persists. Ron Wyatt died on August 4, 1999. Until his final breath, he insisted that every discovery he had ever claimed was true. He asked for no fame, gained no fortune, and left behind a trail of unanswered questions that continue to stir debate across the world. To some, he was a deceiver. To others, he was a modern-day witness chosen for a divine assignment. His story remains one of the most compelling mysteries in biblical archaeology, part history, part faith, part enigma. Whether one accepts Ron Wyatt's testimony or rejects it completely, there is no denying this. He left behind a narrative so powerful, so unsettling, and so deeply intertwined with the core of biblical faith that it continues to echo long after his death. If he was wrong, then his story is a fascinating legend. If he was right, if even a fraction of what he described truly lies beneath the earth of Jerusalem, then history has not yet absorbed the weight of what he found. Either way, the question remains suspended between heaven and earth. What exactly lies beneath that ancient escarpment? And will the world ever be allowed to see it? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, kindly like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss our future explorations.